So this has been an absolutely gorgeous fall. As you can tell, I'm getting ready to go to bed. So I just have to take this off. I went ahead and prepared my face so I don't have to do anything except take my eyes off. But wanted to share some more memories. Let me go ahead and do part two of Dona Antonia. One of the fun things I remember is she had three kids, Sandra, Georgie, and Rita. So that would be Sandra, George, and Rita. And unfortunately, Sandra isn't with us anymore. She was a little bit older than myself and a big sister to me when Dona Antonia brought her over. And Georgie would come over, and we had such a great time. When Rita was born, she was kind of small when we came to the U.S., so I don't have very many memories of her except that she was very tiny, and she does recall us from stories and pictures, and I think she has a very good memory because she told me she remembers us. I don't recall she might have been about 3 or 4 when we left, I'm not sure, but we have been on Facebook together, and excuse me, she's the one who set us up with her mom, and we got to talk to her. But I recall one time, I always got embarrassed when I passed gas. I used to call it burping backwards. And I was very, very embarrassed. And she walked in, and I thought, oh no. And it was one of those horrible ones, that you just want to just crawl under a rock. And she said, oh, Denise, I have a funny story, a funny joke to tell you. It was really a story. My mom even told it the other day, which was funny. I don't know where she pulled it out from. But she said, Denise, so there was this girl who played piano, and she had a little problem. And so in the middle of practicing piano, well, a little trumpet noise would escape, and she'd say, thinking she was alone, excuse me. And so that happened about 3 times. After the 3rd time, she stopped, and she turned around, and her boyfriend was standing in the door, and she got beet red. She said, how long were you there? And he said, oh, after the first excuse me. So she said, you see, you're not the only one. Anyway, she always had a way of making you feel good if you if you needed somebody to go hug. And she also was just consistently amazing. Everything she did, from cooking to helping mom mend clothes and ironing. And we had to iron, like I did. I watched them iron, and I made sure when I grew up that I got very little of anything to iron. I did iron my jeans at one time in the 80s. Remember when that was really big? Make sure you had your crease down the middle of your jeans. And remember the 70s? Remember those jeans that actually had the seam where they sewed a seam down the front of your pants? Anyway, but I remember I did press my pants in the 80s and a few shirts. And after a while I said, I'm going to get those button-down polo shirts and whatever is low maintenance. And that just made me happy. And I still do. I get the wrinkle-free everything. So, but Antonia made sure that everything was spit-spot starched, and the house always smelled like food, like teak, rice, beans, fresh fruit. I think I said this not long ago. I recall in our kitchen, and a lot of the houses had this. It was such a neat light. They were like maybe actually 8-inch tall panes, and about 3 or 4 feet long, depending on the size of the wall. And you might have 3 of those panes, and there was a lever that you opened, and so each of those panes opened out. So they'd be like the Venetian blinds, like the mini blinds. They opened out like that, and so you could direct the air in low if it was cool and you wanted it cool, or you could direct it up high if you wanted the air to go higher and circulate before it, you know, came into the area. So it was just a really neat house. It had an atrium. I remember a rubber plant tree. Mom said, don't get near that. It looks like it has real milk, but it's poison, so stay away from the rubber plant. But Antonia made sure all of those plants were taken care of, and so did Mom and Dad. And we had some beautiful orchids and a gorgeous rose, and one single rose grew. It was crazy. It was the craziest thing. And one single red rose. And she would, it's my daughter. Come in.
Mom.
Yeah. No, I'm just telling stories. Oh, look at what my daughter found. Speaking of Brazil, I'm telling Brazil stories. This is Monica.
Hello.
So my Polish daughter, who's part Brazilian now.
Yeah.
Yay! So enjoy the Guaraná. No caffeine for me, but I love the smell. Do you remember that apple slice drink? That's what it kind of tastes like. You must try Guaraná. Anyway. I'll go ahead and stop there. But one of the things I did, speaking of Poland, I'm going to try to keep my Polish up a little bit more because I spent a lot of time learning the basics. But what I do recall, I love languages. It's not a brag. It's just, it just makes your life richer to know another language. And there's so many languages that are similar. Some are very different. You've got the Slavic languages like Russian, Poland, Hungarian, Polish, Hungarian, Ukrainian. Those kind of have a flavor. Then you've got the Romance languages, which come from Latin or Rome, which is why they called it Romance. I think I learned that in art appreciation. Thank you, Arnie Anderson. So, and then you've got the Germanic languages. So English is mostly a Germanic base, if I'm not mistaken, with some Latin thrown in, some Greek and Latin. And Portuguese is mostly Latin, but a lot of words, if you listen to it, John could understand them because he took Latin growing up. So, eu entendo tudo em português. I understand everything in Portuguese, mas eu não posso lembrar, eu não lembro de todas as palavras, talvez 90%. So I don't remember all the words, maybe 90%. Je parle un peu de français parce que je étude française à l'université. So I speak a little French because I studied at the university level, and it was my minor. I actually can read it better, and I understand it better if people talk. When I go to speak, I have to use a lot of gestures, but it's very similar to Portuguese. When you read it, when you go to speak it, it sounds completely different. It sounds like it's just beautiful. It's just a very beautiful language. My Aunt Lucia spoke it. My Uncle Alan learned it. John's mom spoke it. We spoke a little bit together. I loved Russian. I don't know very much. I probably know 5 words in Russian, but it's a beautiful language as well. Rozumiem trochę po polsku. I understand a little bit of Polish, and then my Japanese, I'm going to butcher this. Wakata skoshi nihongo. I understand a little bit of Japanese. I think I completely butchered that. Yo comprendo un poquito de español, pero yo hablo portugués fluentemente. Y si usted hablar despacito, yo comprendo. speak a little Spanish because I speak Portuguese, so if you speak slowly, I can understand you. There, being in Brazil, there were people, it was like the whole world was there. You could just walk out the door and hear every language in the world. Now, a lot of people just went ahead and spoke English, and I'm sorry, Portuguese in public like we did. We always spoke Portuguese in public, English in the home, English with our friends if we were behind closed doors, but in public we tried to, and sometimes we spoke Portuguese in the home. Definitely when our Brazilian friends came over, unless they knew English. But I can't recall if Antonia learned English. I think that she learned it enough because she had figured some things out. Even though she didn't speak it, she knew what we were saying. She was a very smart lady. Probably, genius level. I really think that she really had that level of IQ. So those are my Antonia stories. If I think some more, I'll tell you those. But anyway, she was one of my mentors, sort of from far away, when I decided to become a nanny. It was kind of a combination of, Mom, Mary Poppins, Maria von Trapp, Antonia, and just all the people that I learned who really did a good job with kids. So anyway, Sarah and Andy, thank you very much for letting me be your nanny. And because I was your nanny, well, I thought, well, maybe one day I can be a mom. And Monica's been wonderful. This is a lot longer than I meant for it to be. Thank you for listening. Take care. Oh, by the way, my friend in the other video, her name was Regina. She was my first best friend. So I meant to say her name. Anyway, there you go. Get credit where credit's due. Thank you for listening. And by the way, I took it easy today. I did do a light workout, but I went ahead and decided to get the COVID shot. Please, do what you must. This isn't a statement for one way or the other. I decided to get it for myself, some good friends he teaches health policy at a very big university. And they recommended the Pfizer shot, so I went ahead and got that one. Got my second shot yesterday. Had a little arm soreness. Actually did pretty well, but I wanted to lay low. So I did go for a light bike ride, ran errands, and it's time for bed. Thank you for listening. Take care. Stay healthy. We'll put a comma here. Bye-bye.